Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and I am joined in this video by my amazing friend Ashley. You may have seen the video that I did with her previously where we talk all about her amazing journey and transformation and weight loss and her continuing journey. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already. In this video though, we really just want to answer some of the most common questions that we get about a carnivore diet. We are around regular people in the workplace and at church and all kinds of places every day, and constantly people are having questions about what is carnivore, what do you even eat, and basic questions for when they're getting started. Some of you may be thinking about starting carnivore in January, which is also known as World Carnivore Month, or whenever you're starting this video, you might just be doing that research. So we want to answer some common questions that you might be having yourself.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. One of the most common questions I get is carnivore, like, is it really just meat?
And even people then are like, what kind of meat? What does that mean? Does that mean seafood or
does fish count?
Yeah.
What kind of meat counts on carnivore?
So what is the typical answer that you give people when they ask, like, you just eat meat? Or
Yeah.
what do you eat?
One, it's like, it is as simple as being animal based, right? And I think that a lot of people overthink it. So I always tell them, like, do not go honor student on this. Do not overthink it. Literally, it is meat. So if you like fish, eat fish, right? If you like seafood, I love lobster and shrimp and crab. That is all inclusive too. But I'm a Texan, so like I'm always gonna say beef. Like I love steak.
Yeah.
Ground beef is amazing. Myriad of different ways. You like chicken.
I do. I eat a lot of, chicken's a good side dish. It has a lot of good crispy skin. So I eat chicken. I always kind of say, like, if a vegan won't eat it, I'll eat it. And that's kind of where I draw, if I had a face on it, I'll eat it. Or I guess too, eggs is a big part of it. So eggs are included in that. And then for some people, a carnivore diet can include dairy, but you have to be aware of how dairy is going to affect you personally. And some of us overeat dairy, for me.
Yeah, and I think that when you start off simple, I always say that carnivore is the ultimate elimination diet because it is. And then for me, I was shocked at the reactions that I had when I tried to work in things back afterwards. So it is very interesting that when you go carnivore and you really commit to going carnivore, and then you think, well, maybe, I mean, for me, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try keto. Certain things, when you add them back in, they do not agree. So, starting off with steak and chicken and pork. Yeah. Pork is actually, bacon. I used to never have like pork chops. I love pork chops now, and pork ribeyes are delicious.
Before we do our next question, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Element. Element is these convenient little electrolyte packets that I have an unflavored version every day, which is literally just sodium, magnesium, and potassium. And then they have all kinds of really fun flavors depending on how you tolerate sweeteners and natural flavors. Right. Their holiday medley pack, which is the chocolate chai, chocolate mint, and chocolate raspberry, is out for a limited time. So you can check that one out. Which one's your favorite?
Okay, so my favorite is the grapefruit salt, for sure. And I don't have the citrus salt right now because I've literally gone through all of them. They're delicious. So those are my top two. And then I work in watermelon as well.
If you want to try all those flavors and get a free sample pack with your purchase, you can go to drinkelement.com/LAURAESPATH, and I'll put the link down below as well. So thanks to Element for sponsoring this video. Another question that often comes up is, why don't you eat vegetables? Don't you need vegetables to be healthy? And kind of fruit and vegetables are something that people can't really wrap their heads around, the fact that we just don't eat and are still really healthy. So why don't you eat vegetables?
Because I do not respond well to them.
Yeah.
You want to talk about GI issues that I never realized. It's funny, I don't even think I've told you this, but probably about 10 years ago now, I had food allergy testing. Just randomly, because I was trying to be healthier, and I was having, I'd gone to like a natural doctor, and they came back with things like, cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and broccoli that I was reactive to. And I'll be honest, I completely dismissed it because I thought that was silly because they're healthy. So why would you not incorporate those? And of course, my traditional, medicine would have told me, no, absolutely, work in the rainbow, right? When actually now I realize that bell peppers and nightshades and things of that nature, huge reactions from me now. So, even vegetables that I really enjoy, like I love Brussels sprouts. They do not love me back.
I do miss a big salad sometimes. That was a lot of fun, but it's just, again, doesn't react well with me either. And you don't know that until you eliminate those things for a period of time. So whether or not you ever introduce plants again, that's kind of up to you and your goals and your health, but you're not gonna know until you cut them out of your diet. And just don't worry, you actually don't need the vegetables in order to be healthy. Any nutrients that your body needs, you can get from meat, which is also why we recommend eating a lot of different variety of meats and eggs, and then your body's getting all the nutrients that it needs. So don't worry about that. Fiber is not an essential nutrient, and you're not missing anything by not having the vegetables.
I also think that it's actually really amazing from a mom perspective, from somebody, and I'm a Southerner, right? So native Houstonian. And when you make a meal, you better have 3 or 4 side dishes, right? Like that's what you had to do. And so I can tell you when we first started Carnivore, y'all, it was like a little bit of freedom, right? Because, and I actually felt good about it because I knew that I was reacting to it anyways. So when I took it out and I felt better and I didn't have the waste, I mean, there's a reason that there's the joke about, hey, we went to Costco so we can throw away what's in the fridge now and replace it with the stuff we'll throw away in 10 days.
I bought a new bag of lettuce to throw away the old bag of lettuce.
I mean, I will tell you, when you go carnivore, that is one of the things. You have a lot less waste from the veggie perspective. But yeah, and it's a freedom in your time and in your prep, and you're not having all of that. You're able to just make and prioritize your protein and move on from there.
Listen, there's a reason why kids don't like vegetables, and it's because our bodies were not designed to crave vegetables.
Yeah. And I love it because Laura always has the facts that surround that. Typically, and we're blessed to work together. So typically I'll be like, oh, I don't know exactly why, but she has a podcast and I'll send it to you. I'll send you that link.
Another question that comes up often is, how much am I supposed to eat? How often am I supposed to eat? What are my portions supposed to look like? I think sometimes people get hungry at first on a carnivore diet because, just like Ashley said, you're used to having this portion of meat and then 3 or 4 sides. And so then they cut out the sides and they're left with these little dinky portions of meat. You got to add more meat in order to be really full. And if you're just starting a carnivore diet, the first most important thing is to not be hungry.
Absolutely.
Your body can't heal. You can't focus on weight loss. You can't stop all the food noise and the carb cravings if you are hungry. That's actually one of the beauties of carnivore, is that most people then eventually are just find that they're not actually hungry all the time, which is why a lot of those carb cravings diminish.
Correct. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So I have ultimately lost around 90, 95 pounds, and I vacillate. And I can tell you that the first 40 pounds came off very easily. Like really great compared to the last bit of weight that I had to lose. And that was because the first 40 pounds came off easily. I was healing my gut. I was healing my body. Inflammation was at an all-time low. I ate what I wanted, but I am BRCA1 positive. So I have the breast cancer gene. And the only reason I bring that up is because I had preventative surgeries where I had my ovaries out. And so I'm postmenopausal surgically. Your body is different, right? When you're, for all the ladies that are watching this that are in menopause, I feel you. You cannot eat the same amount that you could when you had all of your organs working properly. And so I did have to watch consumption at some point. Intermittent fasting became my best friend. It really helped me, and it also helped control cravings. And I think that, you know, if I sat down and wanted to eat like what Laura ate, you know, I may not be able to maintain my weight, right? And vice versa. So I can't compare my journey to somebody else on carnivore because their needs, I mean, macros do matter. Yeah. They do.
I think they matter, but the first thing, like I mentioned, is you have to not be hungry.
Correct.
So I do understand where this eat whenever you're hungry, stop when you're full came from, because that's what you got to just not be hungry. But over time, you still can overeat on a carnivore diet, and you're gonna have to adjust your intermittent fasting and your portions. Like, I could just eat and then eat again and then eat again. And so I definitely have to incorporate fasting. I think that's something that you can start tweaking after a couple of weeks or maybe even a month, once your body is really more in tune with its natural hunger cycles. And that doesn't come until you can stop being hungry and get off of the carbs for an extended period of time.
And once you're off of carbs for an extended period of time, it's exactly what you said, quiets the food noise.
Yes.
Right? I think that there's one of the things, I don't really read comments or like go back on stuff, but I will laugh and say that on our first video, there was a couple of comments that was like, you just need to admit that you're addicted to food. I think that's kind of like, duh, we knew that. Like that was actually what the video was about, because I think I'm not a moderator, right? And so, you know, I also felt that because it wasn't in my mind detrimental to eat very much, it was actually taking a toll on my body. And so I think when you start carnivore, you're eating those things, you're getting healthy, you're getting satiated. It also, when you have a limited range of what you can eat, it also quiets the food noise much quicker.
Like, and I love the simplicity of that. Yes. Like we're both work a job, have kids, like we have very active, busy lives. And so the simplicity of it, the simple shopping, we don't waste food, like there's so many benefits and ease in your life. And now I regularly eat 2 meals a day, maybe once or twice a week. I'll do 1 meal a day. And that just makes things so easy when you're not constantly cooking and planning and having 6 small meals a day and meal prep. Like meal prep is maybe once a month. I make a big batch of meatballs for the freezer, or we boil round of hard-boiled eggs. Like meal prep is thaw a steak and then cook a steak.
Correct. And I do a lot more sauces, but as I tolerate them, right? But I mean, all of my sauces take me not even 5 minutes, right? Yeah. And then I have teenagers, right? And they're not exclusively carnivore, and that's okay. And I know your kids will eat some veggies here and there, but my gosh, if you're prioritizing your protein, my kids laugh and say that if you press a button in the back of my head, I would say protein, protein, protein. But it's so true, because if you're prioritizing protein, you don't need very much on the side. And they don't need anything. But for them, you know, if I have minute rice or something like that goes along with it, that's okay for them. I don't have to eat that, and I'm not tempted by it because I'm eating good quality whole protein that fulfills me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I think that's really important when you're first getting started is just having super quick, easy food options. Like, yes, you can thaw a steak and you can grill a steak, but you may not have that much time, or that may not be something that you've prepared for. So especially in the beginning, having hard-boiled eggs on hand, have some cooked bacon in the fridge, have some cleaner meat sticks, have some homemade jerky or some clean, you know, bought jerky like a Carnivore Snax that's only 2 ingredients. Be aware though of some prepared and packaged products that have soy and sugar, and the carbs really add up on that kind of stuff. So watch the ingredients, check as you're buying it, but make sure that if you're sitting there at night and watching TV and your meals are done for the day, but you're really craving your evening snacks like you used to have, eat some bacon, grab an egg, grab a piece of cheese. Like in the beginning especially, it's better to just like grab something and eat it before you go and eat carbs or sugar instead. And
drink water with electrolytes. Definitely. I know, you know, you talk element all the time, but really that was a game changer for me. And I think you also have a whole slew of videos that are fantastic resources on, you can go and eat anywhere and remain carnivore. Yeah. And that was huge for me. At the beginning of my journey, that was one of the things that helped me stay consistent. Was I had the luxury, I know not all of you have the luxury of having Laura hang out with you personally, but it was so great to go to restaurants with her and see how she ordered and be able to say, yeah, I'll take the same thing. That was truly, I think your videos on how to order at places like In-N-Out Burger and some of the steakhouses and stuff they're a game changer.
Yeah, and prepare before you go to those places. Like before you go to a restaurant, before you go to somebody's house, like take a look at the menu or call ahead and offer to bring something. I do that all the time with going to somebody else's house. It's like, hey, I'm gonna bring this. What can I bring to contribute to the meal? And I just bring something that I know I can eat. And then especially if you're going to restaurants, like I just check out the menu ahead of time, and worst case, I eat before I go, and then I just sit and enjoy a glass of water and visit with my friends.
Do you ever notice too that whenever you bring your dishes, most of the time, everybody eats your dishes because they're very good, right? Yes. Like I did like just bacon spirals one time and they were gone. And I was like, I got one of them, guys. Like I needed this. But I think it's funny because carnivore is good and your friends will eat it and they don't even realize most of the time that it's carnivore.
Yeah, so. Love it. Okay, the last thing that we want to address is what about movement or exercise, working out like in combination with a carnivore diet? Obviously, exercise is a good thing. You should exercise, you should do that. I was one of those people though that needed to get a handle on my food first. And when I tried doing, you know, food and exercise and intermittent fasting, like it all got so overwhelming. And if I missed a workout for a day, I just felt like a failure. And then I found myself like eating food that I shouldn't. So I personally needed to focus on one single thing. I lost my weight without exercise. I have never really done it consistently. I did it a little bit, like I've had a few months at a time where I would do it, but it's something that I still need to focus on incorporating more, but I'm really not good at it.
Well, see, and I'm older than you. So I'm a lot older. I'm a lot older than Laura, and I am surgically postmenopausal. So I think the first 40 pounds, in fairness, when I started in August of 22 to August of 23, like I didn't work out. I did not work out at all. But then I found that I had a stall. I gained some back. I really needed to recommit. And in August of 23 was when I decided we're going to get like hardcore on this. And I started using like a little workout program that was on my phone, and it was fantastic. Yeah. And it just was something, and y'all, when I say that it was like 13 minutes, it was 13 minutes a day. But I just made that commitment to myself because I'm the same way. I got to the point where it was like, well, if I miss a day, well, then it's all shot anyway. So I should just eat what I want and I'll start over at, you know, whatever time. And I think that one of the things that you helped me realize too was, you know, one bad decision does not make for a bad month or a bad year, right? You can have some setbacks and you just move on toward it. So if you miss a day of working out, then that's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Get back to it the next day. I have found a lot of joy in movement over the last few months, incorporating spin and some strength training and stuff. But it all started in August of 23 with 13-minute Pilates and I couldn't even make it through it.
And now she's like at SoulCycle 5:30 every morning.
I love it.
She's just making me feel like a lazy bum all the time. But I think Ashley really is somebody who mentions that she wishes that she would have incorporated exercise and movement earlier because it really helped motivate her in general for this lifestyle. And I am still working on that type of motivation. So this is one of those situations with so much of this is you have to do what works for you. And I think that's my best advice for any beginner is like, yeah, watch these videos, do your research, focus on learning what the rules are. But at the end of the day, the rules are whatever works for you in your life. That's right. Like you have to make, there's a lot of people that would consider us like not perfect carnivores, and I probably wouldn't either, but you have to make this work for your life if you want to have any amount of long-term success, or it is just going to be this 30-day fad diet that you're going to try and then go back to what you were doing, which clearly wasn't working because here you are. So
that's right. Yeah, I mean, find what works for you, be consistent, and give yourself grace.
Absolutely. Okay, that's all we have for you today. You can subscribe to this channel, of course, for more good videos. I'll probably do some more with Ashley in the future, and make sure you go follow her on Instagram as well, and I'll link all that down below for you. Thanks for watching.